Alright, welcome to another video. So right now I'm working on building this cart, or fixing it up from where it was. It was pretty sketchy. One of the wheels actually broke off for the welder and that plasma cutter, so I'm gonna get right to work on this and make it right, make it nice and sturdy so I don't have any problems in the future. Alright, got this cart looking really good. I made these little hooks for it, and I'm gonna put the welder and the plasma cutter on here. I did paint it, it's still a little wet, but I think it should be fine. We'll catch up once it's on there. Looks really nice, so everything worked out the way I thought it would. Definitely nice to have a lot of hooks, hang stuff on, so proud of this thing. It's bad to the bone, you know what I'm saying? So today I'm gonna work on trying to get the underside of this car prepped, you know, to paint underneath where the subframe is going to go. So I'm going to jack it up real high and wire brush, you know, in the two spots that the subframe is going to sit in. I'm not going to try and paint the whole floor, just where it's going to sit. And then I'm going to try and get it back on its feet. You know, I'm going to make an order for next week to get bushings, bushings for the A-arms, ball joints, and all the front end components that I need. Because it'd be nice to, you know, kind of start getting it, you know, back to where it kind of... Alright, for this video I'm mainly going to focus on getting the area that's going to be underneath the subframe prepped and painted, because it's really hard to access once the subframe is in there. I still need to get bolts for the subframe anyways, so not quite ready to go in there. And I'm taking a break from this roll cage because, as you saw, kind of had a mishap there. And I'm also going to wait until I have the seat that I'm going to race in, because to meet the NHRA, you know, specifications for the 850 cage, you got to make sure that, like, the roll cage is within a certain distance from your head, and all sorts of different, you know, specifications that you have to meet. So I want to be sure that I get it in here right. So I'm going to switch gears, and once I have that subframe in here, I can also start, you know, putting in these subframe connectors, which require, like, cutting through the floor, cutting through some floor braces, and doing a lot of welding. So that's definitely something that I can focus on while I'm waiting for the seats to come. And I've been working on kind of reorganizing the shop, and that's something I'm going to work on. Try and maximize the, you know, the space and make sure it's in the most efficient way possible, so you have a lot of space to work, because it's always crappy when it's cramped. So I'm going to work on getting the rest of this kind of organized. And also I'll probably, you know, I said I was going to tear down the rest of that LS in the last video, but didn't get to it. So I'm going to do that as well. I might do that before I work on the subframe, because I don't know, been doing a lot of fabrication, kind of gets old. Alright, just a quick break here. It's critical when you're taking apart an engine to make sure with something like a cylinder that it goes in the exact, if you're going to reuse them, that it goes in the exact same place as it came out of. So, because an engine, it gets balanced, you know, so if you put a number 1 cylinder in number 8, it would go in there fine. But the engine could become out of balance and it would be ruined. Or you'd have to take it all back apart and you'd basically be ruined because you couldn't figure out which cylinder would go where. It would just be a crapshoot, right? So be sure to label them, and I'm gonna get back to work. So when you take these apart, you kind of want to look at the crankshaft. All these journals, they're called rod journals, look really clean. There's no gouging in them or anything, because they'll get gouged if the bearing starts spinning within these caps. Like the bearing can come loose from the little tab and it'll spin in there, and then it'll cause really bad scoring on the crankshaft. And this looks really good, which I'm happy about. I obviously haven't looked at the main caps yet, because I would take it apart further, but I got to figure out how to get this crank bolt off. So that might, be a little YouTube journey for myself, but definitely stoked with how this is looking so far. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that time lapse. All right, I have this kind of rigged up, so I'm not going to be running AC, so this bracket is really not useful to me. So I'm hoping that that's going to hold it strong enough for me to get this bolt out, but I'm going to put you guys on a video and we'll see what we can do here. Jeez, definitely bent the rod. Whoops. All right, so I thought I could use this frickin' POS puller to get this off, but it looks like you need a special tool, so still stuck with the crank in there. So I think I'm gonna buy that tool, and now I'm gonna switch gears to jacking this thing up and crawling underneath there and start wire brushing again and sanding underneath the subframe. All right, be sure to get a dance break in every once in a while. Keep the vibes high. So I noticed, or I've been noticing, that there's definitely some holes in this floor. So while it's apart like this, you can see it really bad over here. You definitely want to like fix these if you feel so inclined. So I'm probably gonna get the welder out, clean it up on this side, and weld these up as best as I can. Some of them I think I can just fill with the welder, but some of them might need just a little patch panel. Don't want to hear the wind too much when you're going fast in the old cars, so get it fixed while you can. All right, so I went to frickin' O'Reilly's, got the right tool here. I'm gonna go about taking the dampener off. got it all disassembled, so everything looks really nice. Block looks to be in really good shape. I do have a bore gauge over here and that I need to get the instructions for to check the bore taper, because as the engine wears, you know, the bores can get, you know, kind of expanded where there's more load. So hopefully this thing doesn't have to be bored, because that's, you know, some extra machine work. And all these bearings look to be in really nice shape, so that's a good sign for sure. And I'm also going to get a micrometer or a caliper to check all these journals on this crank. I think I've mentioned I'm going to check the rods, and now that the crank's out, check the you know, main journals as well, and make sure that it's all in spec. Otherwise you have to, like, you know, you have to turn this area down like 10,000ths of an inch to get it to back to like a fresh surface, and then you get undersized bearings. So overall came apart super easy. Got everything labeled here, so should go together just as easy as it came apart once I get all the rods and everything and decide on some pistons. I'll be sending it to a machine shop, get it hot tanked, and hopefully not bored, as I said, and then pistons hung on some rods, and then just gotta get the gasket kit and, you know, replace the bolts that need to be replaced. Some of them are torque to yield, meaning that once you torque them down, then can't be used again. So got to go through that and make sure I get everything. But overall, the motor looks really good, which I'm happy about. So now I'm gonna switch gears and get back onto fixing this floor, as one does. You know, it's got to be fixed, so got to take the time to make it right. Alright, so as you saw, it's a ton of work to put these patch panels in, super time consuming. So I got a couple of done over here, as you saw, and I still got to do some on the other side, but I'm going to be going on a little vacation, and I'd like to get this video out before I, you know, send it down to Florida, get away from this crappy weather. So I'm going to upload it, and, you know, this is so time consuming, it's hard to catalog it all into one video, so I hope you guys enjoy these kind of videos, and going to be more to come on this patch panel stuff, because the floor back here is super rotten, so I probably am going to have to do something back here, because I think it is going to be a challenge to weld it to the subframe connectors. So more to come on that. Thanks for watching, and subscribe. Hey, thanks for stopping into the Bluebird Enterprises YouTube channel. If you like what you saw, give me a big thumbs up, and hopefully you're leaving with a bigger smile than you came in with.